This is a controversial topic, and some brokers are not going to like what I have to say. I've read a ton of commission-related articles published by brokers defending their commission rates, stating, this is how I provide for my family, outlining all of the expenses that we have as brokers: marketing, photography, training, agent support, the commission splits with your brokerage, and taxes. I get it. But if you do a lot of volume, it's much less of an impact. And cutting your commission to close the deal, it's part of the game. I know a ton of top producing brokers do it. I know because I see your commissions on the HUD at the closing table when I'm the buyer's agent. It's there. Now, I agree. Our commissions are earned. They absolutely are earned. And we work our asses off for each and every client, some more than others. But I also believe in competition. And I believe being a value at the right price. Yes, I reduced my commissions to get deals and build my business. Anyone that wants to challenge this approach, come at me. There are very few brokers in this city that have done the volume that I have consistently year over year. So I feel like I can say this, like I have the street cred to lay out my plan. And if you don't like it, that's fine. But this is what it is. I made an enormous amount of money in this business, and I truly believe it's a volume game. If you're doing 5 deals a year and people start chopping up your commissions, it stings. But I can guarantee you, if you don't get a deal because you didn't negotiate your commission, it feels a lot worse. So I wanted to talk about this topic, and coincidentally, CNBC published an article with some stats that were pretty cool. What I found interesting was 22% of sellers brought up the topic of commissions, and the agent was willing to negotiate. Another 5% of sellers tried to negotiate the commission, and the listing agent said they either couldn't or wouldn't reduce the commission. What was shocking was 15% of sellers didn't know commission rates could be negotiated. So approximately 60% of the public knew they could ask for a reduced commission and didn't. I say this all the time on so many different levels and like topics. Our culture is not designed to negotiate. They just aren't. If a seller tells me they are interviewing multiple agents, I almost always cut my commission to be competitive. I typically started at about 5% and would often go to 4.75 or 4.5% at the listing appointment, sometimes less. There are times when the seller would email me the next day and be like, Matt, we really want to work with you. Would you do X commission on this listing? And I would absolutely do it. Now, I always offered 2.5% as the buyer's cooperative commission and only reduced the commission to my firm. I was very clear with my clients about how I split the gross commission between the buyer's agent and the seller's agent. I outlined this on both my net proceeds worksheet and verbally and on email. We do not state in our handbook, nor did our firm ever suggest a brokerage mandatory commission rate. My model has always been get the deal and build your business, both today's business and your referral business. If my client was looking to sell and buy, I almost always cut the listing commission. It wasn't necessarily a business strategy. It just aligned with my moral compass. It was genuine. I felt the amount of money I was making on a sale and a buy was massive. So helping the client was the right thing to do. I used to joke with my wife that I was a realtor for the people, educating them on both the business of selling real estate from the broker's perspective, as well as the actual buying and selling of a home. Total transparency, always. Honestly, this is what I'm doing right now while building this brokerage. It is a slightly different perspective, but it's the same concept. I'm educating real estate brokers on brokerage commission splits, services, training, coaching, support, and teaching them how to be successful without giving big brokerages a substantial cut of their commission. Now, I digress. So back to the topic at hand. Not only did I reduce my commissions on the front end, it happened during the deal. We love inspections, right? Buyers love retraining deals during the inspection period. If I was representing the seller and the buyer asked for some outrageous repairs or repair credits and the attorneys couldn't find common ground, I would step in. I would, of course, try to talk to my sellers, see what kind of credit they would give, go and talk to the buyer, see if they would back off a bit. I would always see if we could figure this out. But so many times we hit an impasse, and so many times I would throw money at the problem. It was easy math for me. Do I solve the problem with $1,000 or sometimes more, or have the deal die? Going back on the market, never fun. Solving the problem was a win-win on so many levels. I felt like the client felt like I was a true partner and stepped up to save the deal. Going back on the market means double the work for us and for the seller. And we all know when the deal dies and you go back on the market, there is a million questions from new buyers. What are you back on the market for? What happened with the previous deal? The property will have a stigma, and everybody assumes it's an inspection issue. End of story. This is something you'll never get away from going back on the market, and we've done it, but you want to try and avoid it. I was listing 40 to 50 homes a year, so keeping deals moving forward was one of my main objectives. I did the same thing if I was representing the buyer. I would call the seller's agent, talk about the requested inspection credit, and tell them, hey, if the seller doesn't give a credit, this deal is going to die. And threaten as much as possible. And if the seller wouldn't budge and my client really wanted the place, I would throw money at the problem. Reduce my commission to get the deal done. This is what you do as a real estate broker. And I know some brokers hate this strategy, but it's something I did and it built my business. Sometimes I would even tell the client, I wouldn't even tell the client until days after. They were incredibly grateful. And again, it serves many purposes. Keep the client happy, which is always the number one priority, and keep the deals moving. If you are lucky enough to be a successful realtor, you should use every tool in your toolbox to keep the client happy. Having a strong moral compass is one of the things that has led me to be so successful. I truly believe this, and I think my clients sensed it, which is why they hired me and why they referred me. I would like to state this has nothing to do with the NAR lawsuit. You can listen to my rant on that topic. I will link the video in the comments below. Building this brokerage with like-minded realtors is our mission. Creating a culture that respects the client and puts their needs first is everything. The client is always your number one priority. Our slogan at Mark Allen Realty is caring deeply for brokers that care deeply for their clients. And we truly mean that. This evolved from my business practices, and it's something I live by today. I want to thank you guys all for joining me. I know this is a controversial topic. If you guys have any questions on this or anything other real estate related, let me know.